As the chaos spread, the star seemed doomed to unravel, and yet there were those who stood in defiance of that fate. The hour has come, creature. It's all or nothing. Time, 'tis as we feared. The respite afforded this land was but fleeting. The end draweth nigh.
While the world is lost to ruin.
It would. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must then, but we scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Hello and welcome back. This time around, we're playing Endwalker. During that cutscene, when the Warrior of Light steps at the very beginning, shows Square Enix, and reminds me of toys. Like at the bottom of the leg, you would see the shoe, and then would show a name underneath it. But yeah, let's get going. For this recording session, I'm going to be recording this as long as I can. Up until I am too tired to really be recording anymore. Oh, everybody's back. Which does remind me, I guess since we're in the game now, I can go and check to make sure that everything got recorded. Yep. This episode's the beginning of the end for Edgar. Because after we get done with Endwalker, that will be our end of our time with Edgar. His story will continue, but we will not be there after Endwalker. But let us begin. Oh, 5:15. Our weapon is 5:30. And we need better gear. Edgar, do you have some time to talk? I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite together, assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let's take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Levelin. Levelin stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. Unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Though shielded with this blessing of light, seems able to resist being tempered at least. But after what happened to Armwald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of a paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of this situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Levelin are under the leadership of Fan Daniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenos, yea, Galvus, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he reclaimed his body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital is probably seeing the worst of it for a good while there. It saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has since changed, and in troubling ways. Aye, during our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket the ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events too were orchestrated by the Levelin. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Charlian, I am sure of it. Master Fauchant's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The forum knows more than it's letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We just received word from Mistress Kryl. She says that arrangements for your visit has been finalized. You're to head to La Misa Lamosa and board the next ship bound for Charlian. And on arrival, present yourself as associates of the students of Valdesian, come to assist with the Order's restoration. The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I am eager to see it, of course, and we should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. As you can see, it is quite early in the morning. I have been up for a little bit less than 2 hours. And I just almost pressed left trigger again. But yeah, I'll be recording this a lot this week. Trying to get as much of it as I can get done. I'll probably get it done by sometime next week as I'm recording this. And then, let's see. I do have to take at least the occasional break from this to record Rogue Trader. But once this series is done, I'll be just focusing on Rogue Trader until till Dawn Trial comes out. Oh yeah, I never decided what we were gonna have for our minion. Who do we have? Who do we have? See, in the base game we had Butts, and the post game I think we had Onion. And then in Heaven's Ward we had Midsumgar. Post Heaven's Ward we had GG. Oh no, we had Kane for Heaven's Ward, and then we had GG for Post. I don't know if I think we had Inkindu for a while. You wanna know what? We'll take this. We got this in Shadowbringers. Might as well bring it with us. I try to think what manner of truth awaits us deep in the Indigo Deep. Still more do I dread the prospect of discussing long overdue. Contrary to what you might think, this will be like coming home for me as well. I may have learned how to survive in the Missa Lamosa, but it was in Charlian where I was taught, quite relentlessly, I might add, the skills to properly live. I might have lived in Master Matoya's cave for a good part of my life, but even for me, the thought of returning to Charlian is quite exciting. I can hardly imagine how it is for the others who lived most of their lives there. I never thought the day would come when I would be sailing home again. It's always seemed so very far away. Sea travel can be tedious, but I don't mind it. 'Tis a rare experience for most Guardians. Everyone's here, which is good, because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Charlian could be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. Foos, get on board! Foos counts as luggage, right? Considering Foos has all of Edgar's luggage, except for his food. And cabbages. Oh, here's a familiar face. Or two.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule. Or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hell-bent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends. Well, that's hardly comforting.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Charlian!
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent.
And that's when we're fired upon.
And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Well, that woke me up. The map moving woke me up.
Here. Feel. Think.
Since I started in La Misa Lamosa on my personal one, this is very much...
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal. After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Eidolon has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid.
What a chaos symbol in your
Even
eyes.
bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms, monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlian's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
This is going to be Edgar's first time going to Old Charlian.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlian.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes. But we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side. I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlian proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
my main character, since I chose this one the most, he went from Charlian to Missa.
Charlian, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
That when that cutscene happened, kind of seemed like the reverse of the beginning for me.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
So it's always a bit nostalgic for this part for me.
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Charlian all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Charlian only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Charlian's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we?
Doesn't help that we're being led by the 140-year-old man.
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with a citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur,
and Alizé Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation? Indeed. Your profile describes you as an adventurer, but one also trained in the rather more constructive pursuits of procurement and production. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valinor, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
And village idiot.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
Like I said, currently village idiot.
If you'll allow me... My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you will seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Don't worry, Edgar already hates it here. Oh, everybody knows what's about to happen next. We're prepared to watch me just go around and attune to everything that's not nailed down. Still, this place is quite quiet. Normally this place is filled with people. And again, they're usually filled up here. But depending on the day, and it's pretty early in the week. Like, it's only... yeah. Oh, there's some people. Well, yeah, mainly people are usually right here and around the Aetheryte and around here. I also will find people around over here at the stadium. When I was doing the reason why you see a lot of people down here is because there's a way you can get money by doing leaves, and since this is the furthest part in the game, I think that's where a lot of people do the leaves. Like, I've done it a few times myself here. Not to get money, but just for level ups. I did do it once to see if it was to confirm that it is a good way to make money, which it is. And since I always have so many leaves, because I don't do them that often. Well, as I was saying earlier, that cutscene, when I first saw it, had a ping of nostalgia, because when I first played this, like I said, I chose La Misa Lamosa, which went by that ship, which is almost exactly how it was there, except for Alphino and Alizé not being in their outfits, and, you know, Graha. And then, I had other things in my brain, but brain don't work. But yeah, out of all of the nations that you get introduced so far up to Endwalker, Sharlayan is my least favorite. Or the one that I actually don't like at all that much. I do like some of Sharlayan, but I don't really like it for the most part. My arm. I guess I'll just be doing this with one arm for now. I don't need both my hands on the controller. I think this is the last one. Yep. Yeah, these are the people who are down here usually. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. To the bag. Ooh, now we get to get new armor. I thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Edgar, and it's his first time in Sharlayan, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You might have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see, therefore I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldassian Annex. How does that sound? Just a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at Levier's estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I'm equally untethered as it were. There's no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aetheryte Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss to not visiting forthwith by thy leave. What of you, Athenian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary until we reconvene. I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. And into the ocean he goes. But I could, oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Of course, if you will have me. Come, Edgar. Charlian awaits. After you, my friend, I am more than content to follow your lead. Gratia is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. And the event to use, the Aetheryte Grahatia, will catch up to you so long as you remain in the same area. If you leave behind, he'll be by entering a different area. You may also speak to him and select the option to part ways. If you wish to have Graha accompany you again, all set, then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusing enough, will be the Last Stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. While you're in these circles, you can talk to them. There's some of them which have the bubblies, like these ones, and then there's the first ones which will have, so like if we go over here, we'll get the bubblies, which are side ones. With all the unusual wares coming and going at all hours, I expect the assistance of an intrepid hero would be highly appreciated. I see no reason why you couldn't undertake any task which piqued your interest. You have been cleared by the immigration officials after all. I look forward to the day your name is celebrated in Charlian the same way it is in yours yet. The place is called the Pier-Style and is the first stop of cargo unloading at the docks. You'll find the usual necessities for daily living on our imports, vitals to running an island nation, but also supplies that further Charlian's pursuit of knowledge, namely large quantities of books, specimens, and samples. Sorting these stacks certainly seems to keep the attendants busy. Or if you're an alchemist, commanding drugs. Because I've definitely turned in a lot of those. Them. And as a sight, one could hardly forget the great statue of Thalak. As a student of Baldessing, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Vale, but I would gaze up upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. This path leading out towards is known as the Athalic Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar, which stands at its end. As you know, the Charlian people prize the combination of wisdom above all else, thus when Thalic was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ashgardians. Individual Sharlayans can and do worship the divinities of their choosing. Being which, that does remind me. The 18th son of the 5th astral moon. And I think my character's like a month older than Edgar. Like a month or two older. Because I think my character's like the 4th moon. And there we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nourishing and food preparations is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning flavor with a certain indifference. But how can I put this? The food is, it's bland, and it eclipsed by our infamous Archon loaf. The prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the stadium, however, who could stomach the school's intrepid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. Also, the main reason why my character left. Archon loaf. It drove me to leave Sharlayan because fuck that. And so the last stand came to be, and as its name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Sharlayan. The one and only bastion of the culinary arts, and an island of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the most impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were a typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. For a second there, I thought I saw, I mistook, that guy up there as Thancred there for a second. Like when I saw him, it just like, oh, Thancred's up there. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, with its a perfectly functioning Aetheryte, remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. It's much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. And deciphering the underlying principles of Alg and Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Algra, Sharlayan's largest marketplace. And where I lose a lot of my money. Equipment is not easy to not cheap to buy. Speaking of Aetherites, those teleportation fees do add up after a while, which is why I tended to rely on the far cheaper ferry services. I was pleasantly surprised when Mr. Starr informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for teleportation costs as part of our duties, but I find old habits hard to break that, and I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. I just like the idea that Tataru never mentioned this to Edgar. So every time he's been teleporting around, that's just been, the reimbursement's just been going to the Scion's coffers. That's the entrance to the Confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. Especially with my main character, that they would have gotten lots of money. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment. How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Or perhaps I'll return here later then. There's little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Charlian. I always thought they're my common sight until I visited other nations. I've seen them in videos, like places where she's just described, but I've never been to one. At least I don't remember ever going to one. I might have gone to one in San Francisco. Or at least saw one in San Francisco. Welcome to Agora, where you can find wares made in Charlian, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutions, but I think that practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Detroit Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up that imposing building at the very top. So I do like the music here, but I do not like the architecture here. I don't know why, the architecture just puts me off. Maybe it's because of all the shells. There's little decorative features are typically of Charlian architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Vale, we're rather simple and rustic by comparison. This is the Nepharium, an area dedicated to the blessing of water. For Charlians, water represents more than life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the Great Flood, which preceded the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Valak's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and proficiency for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. That's probably another reason why I don't like the architecture. I'm more of a fire person than a water person. Again, now I think about it, is there any actually water spells that you can learn in Final Fantasy, well, in 14, other than stuff from Blue Mage? I guess Cure counts. I think Cure is underneath the water section, technically. This grand structure for you is the Rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a form of elected representatives would deliver orientations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I born Uraha? You seem awfully disinterested. Graha's just been staring at Edgar. My apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista puts me in mind of my arrival on the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answer were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Charlian. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town and community, the Crystorium. I can almost see its echo. I still feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't see the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes where the fittingly named journeys end. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. Yeah, in comparison, I do like the Crystorium quite a bit more than Charlian. I also like Idleshire, probably the best out of all the places. I don't know what that says about me. The city that I dislike, the one I like the least, is the one I like the most is the destroyed version of the city I dislike the least. I don't know what it says about me. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon Nekarup built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials, and the oldest Charlian families. You'll see one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. The estate belongs to our friends from House Levior. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Charlian tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. And shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza. Correct. After you, Edgar. So you're saying follow the bubble. I like how we toured most of the island. We've toured 2/3 of the island. We still have yet to go over to here. Right, we crossed this bridge here as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back at the Aetheryte Plaza. Charlene is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in those residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. My character never went to those, nor went to the stadium. Again, he mostly grew up in New Charlian. I only came here after the evacuation, whatever it was called. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldessian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough for one day. We'll take you there another time. Inside with you then. Inside with you! Just whips him. Every time I see this face, I am just, you can just bring back flashbacks of pain. Even though I do have his outfit. I think it's a he, might be a she, I don't know. I'm back and I brought Edgar and Raha with me. And you were right about the ship then. Hello, Graha. It's nice to see you again. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Edgar. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ajoka, Tsunsugaki, it's been an age. Allow me to introduce Ajoka Tsusunaka, Administration Officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. Yeah, it was a he. I think he has a twin brother. I think they're twins. That, if you tried to get the weapon, like the Stormblood weapons. You know his brother. The chapter of yours has featured prominently in Krau's and Graha's reports, so for me, this is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It is an honor to meet your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Vale served as the main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlian. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex was built to provide lodging for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the island itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. Yet it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first we must ensure that the Telephroi fall. Through that door on the left, there's the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone's arrived, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussion begins in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you and the Andron, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms, perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mention to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well pointed, for more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. 'Twas simply that we often so busy with research are exhausted from journeys abroad, we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks, and thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Okay, are you standing on? Yes. I just had to make sure. Oh. Might as well show this while we're here. Behold, my laboratory. Where I play with my toys. Actually, what is in the toy chest other than there's checkers, maybe chess, deck of cards. I think that's a robot toy. Oh no, that's a penguin. I don't know what that thing that's next to the penguin is. A ball. And then of course we have a star, a mogul, and a BD. A BDI, I should say. Rocks. Nitron. Gunpowder. Elixir of intelligence. An alchemist's wheel. A weight. A very small cap. Lectures of dexterity, vitality, and intelligence. Blood samples. Oh, and there's an elixir of mind as well. Books. Bahamut. I mean, not Bahamut. Behemoth. Ifrit. And I think that's everything. Oh yeah, and then there's I guess it's supposed to be like your own personal kitchen slash bath. And a ladder, for of course, to get everything from the upper parts. But yeah, I have been in this room on my own one quite a bit. I don't remember the reason why. Because it was so long ago. Well, let's actually finish this quest now and then call it an episode. And then you get the big room, which I believe this is this concept art for this around here. Like, this is supposed to be the concept art for the cube back in Shadowbringers. I think that's concept art for the Crystal Tower. One of the things from the Delamud Shard. I don't think we've gone to that one, so I won't say that. Of course, here's the great Moogle-Mog's tail. The Far East. Azaz Law. I think this is the Baldessian's armory? It's rather the Baldessian armory or the one for Shadowbringer's weapon. I think this is another one for Crystal Tower. Is that it? Oh, there's Garuda. And then you got the big map. With all the sticky notes. Then here is the Ixal's flying ships. I don't think they're called airships. I forget what they're actually called. What's on this one? Nothing of import. Fully refreshed and alert, our colleagues should be waiting and wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Oriange. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroid's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The Bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Charlian colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. It is possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, and having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Charlian is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Charlian. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course! The more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nidana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Let's see what the armor looks like. I don't know how I feel about this. I have not seen the chestnut armor for maiming. I've only seen it for spellcasters. Yeah, that'll be it for this episode, and in the next episode, we'll choose where we go. Till then.